Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. And yeah, before I start off, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you all had a great Christmas. Hope you guys got everything you wanted, and hope you spent your Christmases with your families, had nice dinner and stuff. And hopefully next year will be a better year and stuff. And yeah, it's the end of the year now. It's time for the moment everyone is waiting for when people do their best and worst lists of the year. Everyone's lists are different. My list is going to be really different from probably most people's because this best list is like a favorite list. This is the best movies to me. These are the movies that I enjoyed the most of 2021. Um, yeah, I'll fully admit, like, this year was a lot better. A huge step up from last year. Last year was just a garbage year. I'm not saying this year was a great year, because it wasn't. There was more bad than good. But I actually had some real enjoyment with some films. So I'm actually pleased to talk about these 10 movies that I enjoyed. But always before top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. I'm going to talk about them very briefly. The first movie that I made my honorable mention was Joe Bell. I thought Joe Bell was a very underrated movie. I know this movie was panned by the critics. I liked Mark Wahlberg. I liked the story. I don't understand the negativity. It was really stupid, but it talked about a very fascinating story about a father trying to deal with his son and suicide and homosexuality. It has a very good story with some very good performances and very good writing, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was the most underrated film of the year. Another film I was shockingly impressed by was West Side Story. West Side Story definitely had its flaws, but it was very beautiful to look at and had some of the best dancing sequences I've probably ever seen put to film. Not as good as the original, I think, but still, damn good film. Next is Pig, Nicolas Cage. I thought this would be just a John Wick ripoff, but it's actually a pretty enjoyable, dark, gritty, raw film with a great performance by Nicolas Cage. It's brutal, bleak, and it doesn't care how disturbing it gets, and it's just a blast to watch. So yeah, Pig was a damn good film. Another underrated one was Those Who Wish Me Dead. Taylor Sheridan said Those Who Wish Me Dead. Really great performances. I love anything Taylor Sheridan is doing, and that's why I love his show Yellowstone so much. And yeah, this movie was a good surprise. I enjoyed its thrill ride. I like that it's like this thriller with these hitmen after this kid, but it's also almost like a disaster movie because a big fire thing is happening in the forests. It's a really good movie. It's really intense. Next, the movie almost in my top 10 list was A Quiet Place 2. I really enjoyed A Quiet Place 2. It's almost as good as the first one. It talks about the backstory of how all this bad shit happened with these aliens invading Earth, but it also explores new characters and new ideas, and it has different types of scares. I still think the first one's just maybe a dash better, but this one's still damn great and a very worthy sequel. All great movies. They all just couldn't make my top 10 list. But we did make my top 10 was my number 10. My number 10 is King Richard. King Richard starring Will Smith. This movie is about the Williams sisters. This is about Venus and Serena Williams and their father, Richard, and how he trained these two girls to be one of the greatest tennis players, some of the greatest tennis players in the history of sports. It talks about their lives in like the ghetto and how he trained them and how his methods were very controversial because he was yes, he was a bit rough around the edge, especially to people who talked to him, people who were in the tennis industry and stuff, because there's stuff about class and race and stuff, and it's done very very well. And this movie could have been very preachy and very cringe, but it wasn't. It was taken very seriously. It was very well directed, and Will Smith is very very captivating in this role as Richard. So damn great film. It was my 10th favorite of the year. Number 9 is The Guilty. The Guilty, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Him on phones with people. This shit I love. I love movies like this. This is movies like Buried and Phone Booth and stuff. Like, I love movies with just people talking on the phone, and that's what makes it thrilling. He's talking to this girl, and she's kidnapped, and he's trying to talk her to calm her down and try to get her to escape, but he doesn't know where she is and all this stuff. And in the meanwhile, because he's in a police dispatch, he's getting other calls from other people, And he's also dealing with his own personal stuff. Jake Gyllenhaal, this is just a one-man show. It's like a one-man acting show with Jake Gyllenhaal, and who doesn't love that? Because Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the great modern actors, and he's fantastic in this movie. He will get nominated. This movie is getting no recognition, and I don't know why. It's fantastic. I know it's a remake. I haven't seen the original film, but this film is damn great. It's very, very well directed, and it is incredibly, incredibly well acted. Jake Gyllenhaal is incredible in this movie, and it was definitely one of my favorites of the year. Number 8 is Pixar's Luca. Luca is another movie that I feel like is not getting enough love. A lot of people call this movie just eh. I really loved this movie, and I love that it was just like this feel-good hangout movie about these like two like kind of sea creatures going to land, and when they go to land, they turn to human boys, and they want to live lives as human beings, and they want to win a Vespa so they can travel the world together. It's very interesting. It's so simplistic, yet so charming and so endearing. Two really great lead characters, great voice acting, very beautiful animation. I love Pixar movies like this. It's not like this like comic gold like The Incredibles or something. And it's also not like this like huge film like Toy Story or something. It's just this small movie about these two friends trying to live their lives on the human world. It's a human story, and I really enjoyed it. I like that it's just simple and to the point, and I really enjoyed it. Number 7 was my favorite anime film of the year, and that was The Mitchells versus the Machines. This is a Netflix movie. I'm shocked the Golden Globes didn't nominate this movie. They're stupid. Great fucking movie. This is a great movie about family. Yes, it's a movie about robots and they're like trying to take over the world and stuff, and it's up to this family to save the world. It's a silly story like that, but it's also about family. It's about this daughter going away to college, and her dad doesn't kind of want her to go, and he has like different interests in her. He's more of an outdoorsy guy. She wants to be a film student, and her brother is like paranoid about everything, and the mom is trying to keep the family together and keep everyone happy and satisfied, and like they all have their issues and stuff, and they have to come together to put end to these robots and stuff. Very funny movie, some beautiful animation. It's very similar to the animation style of Into the Spider-Verse. It's got a great message. It's a beautiful story about family, and I loved it. I was just so entertained from start to finish, and I've seen this movie twice, and I love it. It's not a movie. It's not a movie that doesn't. It's not a movie that gets boring. It's a movie. It has so much watchability factor, and yeah, definitely recommend Mitchells versus the Machines. Number 6, one of the more underrated films of this year. Movie. A lot of people didn't praise that much because I guess you got to be a fan of the material, not as The Sopranos. So, Many Saints of Newark is one of my favorites of the year. I loved this movie actually. It's weird that people watch this movie and they didn't watch the show. If you have no context of these characters in the television show The Sopranos, this movie will make you lost, confused, and you'll be wondering why I give a shit about what's happening. When you know the context of the show and all these characters, it's a big deal, especially the ending. Really great performances. I like that they do focus a lot on Mickey and a young Tony Soprano. James Gandolfini's son is incredible. Corey Stoll as Junior was a huge standout. And Ray Liotta as well at playing two characters. He was great in this movie. If I was running the Oscars, I would give Ray Liotta a supporting actor nomination. He is terrific in this movie. And I love that it tackles the story of Tony's backstory and all his family members, especially his mom, Vera Farmiga, who's great. And it talks a lot about a lot of interesting things and explores. And it talks about things and shows you things that you never thought. Because the show didn't like fully tell you. And this movie just tells you, oh yeah, that happened. So like, I know I'm talking I'm talking very vague now because I don't want to spoil it, but definitely if you're a huge Sopranos fan, check it out. It's a really great film. One of my favorites. All right, top 5. Number 5, Spider-Man No Way Home. Great movie. Very fun Spider-Man movie. It's probably my third favorite Spider-Man movie. It's no Spider-Man 2, it's no Into the Spider-Verse, but it's damn great. It's the best Tom Holland one. Brings all the villains back, and they all do a great job. Green Goblin, Dr. Octavius, Electro, all done really great. Tom Holland's fantastic. It's got a great and very bittersweet ending. It was the only movie I actually gave a shit about. Zendaya's MJ, she was pretty great. Doctor Strange was good. All the good stuff. Really great action sequences, great visuals, and yeah, it brought the Spider-Mans back. That's all I'll say. Number 4 is definitely one of the more compelling films, and definitely an Oscar film that I will be rooting for Oscar season. That's The Tragedy of Macbeth. Tragedy of Macbeth is directed by one of the Joel Cohen. That's what I meant to say. Starring Denzel Washington, and it's got Brendan Gleeson, and it's got what the fuck else is in it? Frances McDormand, shit like that. Like really damn great film. Did I say Frances McDormand? Yeah. Frances McDormand. Is it Emma Thompson or Frances McDormand? Whatever. Who gives a fuck? This movie is really fucking good. Mostly because of Denzel Washington as Macbeth. And Brendan Gleeson is in this movie as well as Duncan. He's great. Corey Hawkins, I thought was the weaker one as Macduff, but I've seen many stories of Macbeth, and some are done really well, like this one and the Orson Welles one, and some are not done that great, like the Fassbender one a couple years ago. This one is done so well, and I love how they do the black and white style. Its visual style is so cool, so creative, very theatrical. Some great shots, great music, and almost everybody gives a very good performance. And it's very true to form to the play. And Macbeth was always like one of my favorites. Much Ado About Nothing, and like Titus are some of like my favorite Shakespeare stories. But I love the story of Macbeth. I've heard it so many times, seen different versions of it. This version I really fucking love, and definitely is going to be up there as some of my favorite Macbeth movies. So yeah, Tragedy of Macbeth, damn great film. Number 3, Belfast. Kenneth Branagh's Belfast. I've always been a huge fan of Kenneth Branagh. Even when he does crap movies like Jack Reacher Shadow Recruit or Artemis Fowl, I still always root for him as a filmmaker because I really like his work. Especially when he does like Shakespeare movies and stuff. It's funny because the Coen brother, he did a Shakespeare movie, and Kenneth Branagh did like a historical movie. And I really enjoy this movie. This movie's a lot about the love of cinema and a semi-autobiographical story about his life. I think Jamie Dornan is a standout in this movie. Almost all the performances. The black and white cinematography also is fantastic. And this is an Oscar movie that I actually will root for, and it's not a movie that's just made to win awards and stuff. It's a story about this family. It's a story about this child. It's a story about cinema. It's a story about Belfast itself. And it's a great, captivating movie. Some good comedy, good drama, some really fucked up moments, but a damn great film. One of my favorites of the year. Number 2 is a film I don't think anyone's going to put on their top 10 list, but I don't give a fuck because I fucking loved it. And that is the football movie, American Underdog. I loved this movie. Just watched this movie recently, and I thought it was so good. I'm a sucker for a good football movie, and this was damn great about the story of this store clerk becoming a football player for the St. Louis Rams. His story is inspirational. Zachary Levi and Anna Paquin are both incredibly good in this movie. So is Dennis Quaid. This movie is directed by the Erwin brothers, who they do a lot of religious movies and stuff. And some of the movies are pretty good. Some of them are just like, it's all right. But this is definitely their best. And it was a bit cheesy, but cheesy in all the best ways. I loved this movie, and I was not once bored. I was captivated from start to finish, and I loved the story of this player, and I loved the story, and I love the football sequences, and just, it was very inspirational, and definitely one of my favorites of the year. So yeah, I loved it. But my number 1, it's gonna be nobody's number 1, but I don't give a fuck. Ghostbusters Afterlife is my number 1 favorite film of the year. I know, I'm a sucker for Ghostbusters. It's the one that. It's the one movie that took the nostalgia and did it right. It didn't do what Matrix did, where it just destroyed its fucking movies and stuff. Or it didn't do what the Star Wars sequel trilogy did. It did nostalgia correctly. It did the characters correctly. It brought new characters and new ideas to it in a good way. And I loved it. I had so much fun. It was a movie that made me restore hope for films and stuff, because I was hating so many movies that came out this year. But this movie, I'm like, you know what? Blockbusters could actually be fucking awesome and not just these stupid lame cash grabs. And I know not everyone liked this movie. Some people didn't like it, and that's fine. But what it did for me, it did all the right things. And it is my favorite movie of 2021. So yeah, that's it, folks. That is my best movies of 2021. So in the comment section below, please tell me, do you agree with this top 10 list? If not, give me your guys' top 10 favorite movies of 2021. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and join the dark side.